Hey, welcome to Your Best Podcast, where we are going to discover and break down and enjoy all the ways that we can have our best. Now, I'm your host, Teemaree, and I'm your best life coach. So you know I love all of this because I help my clients have breakthroughs in their life, health, business, spirituality, and more. So I'm all for this, but it's not just about you and me yet, honey. We also have fantastic guests that are going to break it down from every level, like today's guest, Lorena, Tomasini. And if I don't say that right, we're going to break that down too. She is part of a mother-daughter duo that helps individuals, families, and businesses with financial protection using life and health insurance. Let's welcome to the show, Lorena, Tomasini.
Mm-hmm.
Are we?
You got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Please share with everyone. We're going to break down all the things and the ways that you help solopreneurs and small businesses. But right at the top, what is your website?
Sure. So my website is malmins.com. That's MALMINS.com.
Nice. Very, very, very nice. And I totally love, I have to do that every time I share my website too, because we got to spell it out these days, right? I love that you did that. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off with a game because it's fun and we like to break the ice. Okay. And I think that you're going to do a great job at this. I think you're going to do a great job. Okay. So this game, it is called, I love it so much, I would insure it. So I am going, this is a rapid fire, girl, right? So don't you worry, just the first thing that comes into your head. You're going to tell me if you love it. You're going to tell me what it is that you love so much that you would get insurance for it if you could. All right?
But is it like something real? Yeah. Like
it's real and awesomely ridiculous. Okay. So this is called, I love it so much, I would insure it. So just fill in the blanks. What food do you love so much you would insure?
Pizza.
Yes! Woohoo! I think people are really going to resonate with that, myself included. What TV show would you insure?
Well, I got to go with the classic here, Friends.
Oh my gosh, yes! Woo-hoo! Yes, I love Friends so much. Isn't it crazy that like I'll still laugh, like really laugh, like if it's the first time.
Yeah.
We're winning. We're winning. Okay. What article of clothing do you love so much you'd insure?
A good pair of jeans.
Yes. Okay. I'm feeling that. What place in the world would you insure?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say Mykonos in Greece.
Oh, you have been to Mykonos in Greece?
I've been lucky enough to have been. Mm-hmm.
Oh, girl. Awesome. Okay, and now the last two items are just slightly a little bit more personal. What item currently on your desk do you love so much that you would insure it?
Well, I already insured it, but it's my fold phone because it opens like this and then you have the whole screen. So, yeah.
That is awesome. And you're the only person I've ever, well, I guess we are technically not in the same room, but we're not on television either. And I've never seen it outside of a commercial. So that is actually pretty cool when you open it.
It does exist. It's real.
Very cool. I could see why you would insure that. All right. And now the last question. What item in your purse do you love so much that you would insure it?
Item in my purse. Probably a lip balm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I like lip gloss, but it kind of gets on my nerves because sometimes it makes my lips dry. So maybe you're smarter with the lip balm. Mm-hmm.
Perhaps.
It's all good. We're all about getting your best here. So who knows? Maybe I need to switch to lip balm. I'm down for it. All right. So great job playing the game. I do totally agree. And I learned some things which I love, and I know our listeners are loving as well. It's always good to just enjoy ourselves and have some fun as we improve our life. So today's episode is Solopreneurs, Small Business, and Insurance. And we're definitely going to dive into some ways that, we can look at this. So as a life coach, I have different coaching programs for different people. And one of the coaching programs that I have is for people that are solopreneurs or they're small business, they're small business owners. And so I knew, seeing your information and what you do, that it would be great to have you on, because it can be challenging. I mean, even in the corporate world, right? It's challenging for folks to hold insurance for their employees or hold insurance for things. It's a big topic all the time. So I'm really happy to have you on today. So firstly, for someone who might not know, would you describe financial protection? What do you mean, and what does that mean for folks? Financial protection.
By financial protection, what I mean is that no matter what happens in your life, that you have the peace of mind that financially you'll be able to move on from whatever life throws your way, right? Whether it's somebody's passing that might be unexpected, or maybe even an illness that is also unexpected, right? So it's just having that, not just peace of mind, but financially knowing that you and your family will be protected.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. I agree with that. Now, do you believe, so here's a question. I think a lot of us understand that insurance policies, they help us. We're paying in advance so that if some sort of catastrophe happens, now the insurance policy can shield us from very large bills to then rebuild, redo whatever we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard of life insurance policies also being kind of like a tool for financial growth and investment in some way. Is that true, and how?
That is true. It has to be properly structured. So a lot of times we'll see on TikTok or Instagram somebody doing a video and explaining real quickly about what they like to call infinite banking, or be your own bank. There's different terms. But the basic concept is to get a permanent life insurance policy, because a permanent life insurance policy has the ability to build cash value.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can use that cash value in the future, like to help supplement your retirement, whatever you're currently doing for retirement. Because one of the biggest expenses that we have when we retire is taxes. So this is a way of having access to cash that you can take out as a loan from an insurance company. So you're not going to pay taxes on that money, and the interest rate is always very low. But it does take time to build that cash value. It's not from one day to the next. And the good thing is that it's also tied to like the market, like the S&P 500, for example. It's not an investment, but it is tied to that, part of what you pay in your premiums. And so the good thing about that is that you have a maximum that you can make in interest, like it'll be capped at whatever that number is. And then you have a minimum, which is zero, which is good because, as we all know, the stock market goes up and down. So the years where the stock market might be negative, which has happened in the past, you don't participate in those losses. You only participate in the gains.
Wow, that is fantastic. And I've never heard it explained so clearly before. So, in navigating this myself, I'm always looking for different ways, not just for my clients, but of course, personally, because as a coach, I'm not just sharing theories with my clients. I don't believe in that. I believe in sharing things with them that I've personally proven with my clients. That's just how I roll. So I'm constantly looking, and I've never heard it explained so clearly, which is really soothing. I know for me, when I've considered that avenue as a potential, tool for wealth and a different way to have my money structured soundly, I was always like, well, there's still stuff left unclear for me. So I thank you for that very clear and concise explanation. It's really soothing to have it. Yeah. It's like,
So
okay.
I would hope after 18 years of doing insurance that I can clearly explain things to people and hopefully in an easy way for them to understand complex concepts, right? That we don't talk about every day. Mhm.
Yeah. And speaking of which, so you've been doing this for 18 years and you work with your mom. So
Mhm.
what was that like? Was she the owner of the businesses and said, hey, come on? Or was it something that you felt genuinely interested in? How did this come to be?
Yeah, so my mom has been in the industry since before I was born, so a very long time. And I was studying finance in college. And one summer she needed somebody to help her set appointments. So I said, oh, I could do that. I've worked selling things over the phone before and have a good phone voice, I've been told. So I said, sure, I can do that over the summer. And then one day I went with her. I always knew what my mom did, but it's like take your daughter to work day is that's when you really know what people do.
Mhm.
And I thought, let me go with you to one of these appointments I set up for you. And I did. And I thought, this is simple. You're just filling out paperwork, explaining things to people. I could do that while I go to college. And so I got my degree in finance. I finished that. And I just decided to continue selling insurance. I really enjoyed it and became something I'm passionate about um, to do.
That's
So that,
fantastic.
that's how we started working together.
See, that's fantastic in my mind for two reasons. One, because insurance honestly does seem you do health and you do life, and both of those seem so complicated. So the fact that you're genuinely passionate about this is really important, I feel, just because again, as an entrepreneur, as someone who has had many different I have not had a traditional work experience. I've been in business, for myself. So navigating waters of insurance from one season to the next can seem so overwhelming. And so dealing with someone that is genuinely passionate and has had many years in the industry is very soothing. And I do have a question about that though. So,
Sure.
how does it work with insurance? Could someone anywhere in the nation contact you, or are you needing to service particular areas? How does that work?
So, when I first started working, I would visit people at their home or office, right, wherever they would be. And then a few years later, we opened an office where our clients would come to see us. Then in 2016, I decided, you know what, we can do this over our house, over the phone, digitally, because the insurance companies were allowing us to do more electronic signatures. So I'm licensed in the state of Florida, Texas, and Louisiana. I can get licensed in other states, but I only do that if it's needed. Like if somebody reaches out and yes, they really want to buy insurance from me, they might have been referred by somebody, right? I will get licensed there. Um, yes, I could be licensed in all 50 states, but I don't really see a need for that right now. Mhm.
I see. That's phenomenal. And so to get licensed in the states that is it a series of testing to understand like the law? I would imagine it's having to do
Yeah.
state specific. Yeah.
Well, the first, like, I live in Florida, so that's my residence state is Florida, where I had to do all the tests and all that stuff. And then every 2 years, I have to do continuing education with the state. But that transfers over to the other states I'm licensed in, so I don't have to do testing for each state. Now, insurance companies themselves might require their own testing, right, to get contracted with them. Mhm.
Hmm. Fantastic. Fantastic. So for solopreneurs and small business owners, how or when should they consider getting your insurance products? Like, what is a good marker for them? What do you recommend?
So that's going to depend on the product, I would say. But generally speaking, if let's say you're a solopreneur, which means maybe you were working in a corporate environment and now you've decided to branch out on your own, which has been very popular the past few years, right? So those people are always concerned about benefits because they were used to their employer paying for their benefits, whether it be health or life, right? So that's obviously a time to reach out because you're going to lose those benefits. And so for health insurance, for example, the premiums are based on a few factors: the family size, income, and ages. So that's pretty much all I would need to do quotes. And then we would need to see who your doctors are, if you take medications, to see which company would be a good fit, right? And the same thing for life insurance, because you're probably losing that group insurance, the group life insurance that you had through your employer. So that's a great time to also look through your life insurance. What did you have? You know, what would you like to have, and things like that. Now, for a small business, if maybe they have a few employees, once you reach about 5 employees, is a good time to maybe look into offering group health insurance and group life and all that as a way of retaining employees, right? Now, what business owners are sometimes shocked with is the cost, because to actually offer group health insurance, you should be contributing as the employer at least 50% of the premiums for it to even make sense to offer group insurance, right? Um, but when we're looking at things like health insurance, we're seeing a lot of the smaller employees saying, you know what, just let my employees go to the marketplace, as they call it, to get a tax credit. If based on income and age and family size, they might be better off getting health insurance on their own, because again, the IRS will help them pay for it as with the tax credit. And then you could still offer maybe group life insurance and dental and vision to your employees, which might be more affordable, right?
Mhm.
So it all depends, right? There are
Mhm.
different stages of each business as well.
I see. And it makes sense. It makes sense because the cost can be pretty,
Mhm.
pretty incredible. I think that's why, and it's so weird, but that has to be why we don't just have insurance for everyone all the time.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we're looking at group insurance, on average, it's about 20 to 30% more in premiums for group insurance than what it is for individuals and families. Um, but that's, there's other reasons for that. And again, it all depends on ages, income, and so forth. What might make sense for one business might not be what makes sense for the other.
Mhm.
So part of what I offer is reviewing if you have group insurance, if that actually makes sense to continue offering, or again, if it might make more sense to let them go on the marketplace and if they qualify for tax credits.
I see.
Hmm.
Now, the marketplace, though, isn't uh, that is counting on what each individual is making, right? To
Hmm.
qualify, or is that okay? So, what each individual is making, does that determine whether or not they qualify for insurance in the marketplace, or is that just calculating what they will pay?
So qualifying for health insurance is based on a few factors. You have to be legally present here. So that means having a work permit, being a resident, some immigration status, right? And then qualifying for a tax credit means based on your income. So like family income, if you're married and you both work, then both of their incomes. And then, so family income, and then family size. So family size could be you're married and you have 3 children, or you're a family of 5, right? And so that's really what determines if somebody qualifies for a tax credit or not. And this tax credit, what it does is it helps lower the monthly premium, right? And some people, if their income is lower, then they also qualify not just for assistance with the premium, but also when they use the insurance, it has to be affordable, which means lower deductibles, lower co-pays, lower out-of-pockets. But again, that's all based on income and family size.
Would you
And
say
where they live.
that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, and where they live, of course.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true because the market just statewide is very different.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, what would you say to, and I know these are kind of generalized questions because, of course, there are nuances. That's why you're consulting with each person to find out exactly their picture. But on a broad scope, right? So let's say we'll speak to the solopreneur first. The solopreneur obviously is out there, they're working for themselves, they're really usually trying to decipher all the things they never had to worry about before:
Hmm.
costs, um, uh, guaranteed income, timing of when they get paid, just the whole 9 yards. So, for the solopreneur that is really scared about taking on this seemingly very extra, line item in their budget, what would you say to them? Um, are there things to help them with these costs or programs? Or what would you just say to maybe ease their fear or give them confidence to start to look into what's available?
I think first they have to remember or realize that for health insurance, for example, they have to cover you regardless of any pre-existing condition, which is a huge change in the health insurance industry with the Affordable Care Act, or what people like to call Obamacare, right? It's a law that says that insurance companies have to accept you regardless of pre-existing conditions. And then again, based on income and family size, if you qualify, help you pay for a part of that with that tax credit. But I find a lot of solopreneurs or self-employed individuals are scared to even have the conversation because they think it's going to be outside of their budget. But then when they realize it's based on their income, and when you're self-employed, if you pay yourself with like a 1099, like true self-employed, not through your company, what the government is asking for is what is your net income. So after expenses, business expenses, okay,
Mhm.
you expect to make. So it's really important. And I know it's hard when you're self-employed because you don't know, you don't have a magic ball to know if you're going to get 10 clients this month or one or zero or whatever, right? But to try to estimate as close as you can what you think your income will be for the year, right? So, you can take what you've made on average a month and then use that as an estimate. But I would say, don't be scared of having that conversation because the amount of people that after talking to me tell me I'm so relieved because I was thinking I was going to be paying, $1,000 a month and now I'm only paying 80. That's certainly something I can afford, right?
Sure. Sure.
Hmm.
That's really good news. That's really good news. Okay. Okay. Now, the small business owner, now, as you know, this is a different situation. The small business owner is carrying a lot, if not maybe more, worries, burdens, things to oversee than the solopreneur because they do have usually small teams now as well,
Hmm.
payroll, all these other things that are slightly different, but still smaller. And sometimes, even with this kind of expanded experience, budgets can be tight,
Hmm.
and also requirements can be different. So, what can you say to the small business owner that is at that cusp of trying to understand, okay, is this something I should offer? What can I do? Are there programs to help me? How's this going to kind of work? Generally speaking, of course.
Sure, generally. The first thing, is if you're less than 50 employees, you're not required to offer health insurance, for example. Yes, it's nice to offer health insurance, but I will tell you from many employees that I talk to, they tell me, I'm being offered insurance, but my deductible is through the roof, right? So
Sure.
a lot of those employees, while it's nice that you're offering insurance, are not happy with the benefits. And I understand as an employer that that might be the best you can offer, because if it has a high deductible, it also means it's the most affordable plans, right?
Mhm.
Especially because you're helping to pay for that premium. Um, so a few things, review if it makes sense again to offer group insurance. You could maybe just offer it to the employees and then allow the spouse and the dependents to go on the marketplace. So that's also an option we could look at to also maybe help save that employee some money, right? Because if
Mhm.
they're paying 100% for the spouse and the dependents, they're also not happy about that, right? So, well, it's just different things, and yes, this is very consultative, and every case is different. But it's always good to make an informed decision, and the only way you can do that is by talking to a professional.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And yes, I think a lot of the fear comes from, first of all, finding the professional. So, in my experience personally, I'm coming from a high market, California. I'm now in Michigan, but I'm a California native. I've only been in Michigan for 2 years. So, that's been my experience. Everything is very high there, and
Hmm.
insurance is very high there. So, it's scary navigating. And as soon as we got the Affordable Care Act, which I, ushered in a whole wave of business and consultants and just kind of scrambling for a minute because we were finding our footing, of course, with this new
Right.
situation. So then it can be challenging to find a professional that will take the time and explain these nuances and also explain them in a way that's really clear, which is great. So I
Right.
can definitely relate to how solopreneurs feel, how small business owners feel, not only because I've kind of had that experience personally, but then also because as a coach that helps people kind of navigate the mindsets around that and be able to start to get engaged with professionals that can also help them in resources. It's like, yeah, okay, this is why you need this. And this is important, which is
Right.
my next question. So,
Okay.
when it comes to how important would you say it is to seek out the information, even if you're not ready? Even if you're not ready to like go ahead, like how important would you say it is just to take the time to seek the information?
I think it's better to seek the information by talking to someone like myself. Like, for example, I'm a broker, and what that means is that I represent different companies to find solutions for people. Instead of going on Google and trying to figure this out and putting your name on something and now getting 1,000 phone calls and being like, forget it, I'm not going to do anything, right? So it's like everything. You are a specialist in whatever you do for work, but you don't do benefits. You don't do health insurance. You don't do life insurance. So I think it's best to at least get information. I don't charge for quotes, and hopefully anybody you speak to is not charging you to give you a quote, right? You never know. There's weird things out there. Um, but definitely being prepared to ask questions like, are these hospitals covered? What about my doctors, right? So at least you have information. So when the time does come, you know who you can reach out to
Mhm.
because you already spoke to them before. And then maybe if it was like months ago, right?
Mhm.
Um, and two, at least you'll have more information to be able to make that informed decision. And the same thing happens with like life insurance that we haven't really touched on, but I've gotten the phone calls of people asking for life insurance when, you know, something catastrophic happened, like cancer or heart attack. It might be a little bit too late to get coverage. Or if you can, it might cost more because you didn't do it when you were younger and healthy, right?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Mhm.
And you're right. We didn't even speak about life insurance. I apologize. Um,
Oh, it's okay.
both are important and both have their special benefits and both have that protection. One, as we kicked it off with, can kind of, I don't want to say, is it wrong to say investment tool? It's not an investment tool, but it can help you be your own, you can be your own bank, prevent yourself from paying
I,
taxes
I
later on.
think it's important to distinguish, right?
Mhm.
Insurance is not an investment tool. that it has properties that then you can use it to fund an investment or to help supplement retirement, is okay. We're not saying it's going to replace your 401k or whatever other retirement thing. It's to help fill in the gaps that maybe you're missing with those other products. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, this last question is not serious at all, but it's based off of what you shared. And I thought it was key. You said that you like to make insurance fun. So, how do you like to make insurance fun? How do you like to do this for people?
Well, I think I like to break down concepts that seem super complicated into stories that they can understand. Um, as an example, when we're talking about a subject like life insurance, people really don't like talking about that, right? Because nobody likes to think about them dying, right? But we have to think about further. We're thinking about who are we doing this for? Like, who is the beneficiary that's going to receive this? Or if it's like a life insurance with what we call living benefits that has pays people in case of like cancer, heart attack, or stroke, which is really important if you're self-employed to have that financial protection. Um, that okay, now it's something that is more interesting because it's not just when I pass away, something that I'm leaving behind, but something that I can use as life happens, right? Um, so I like to make it fun with examples and stories because statistics are boring. I studied finance, so yes, I like numbers, but the majority of consumers do not relate to that. And especially I deal a lot with like the Hispanic population. So stories are easier for just people in general to understand. But in the Hispanic market, there's a lot of like almost mistrust, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to break that barrier and make it fun and engaging for them. And then the other thing I would say is, on social media, we do funny videos, we do memes like, if this was your favorite game and it's Super Mario, then it might be time to review your policy, right?
Rude.
Things
No.
like
Girl, don't come after me.
right.
You're like,
Right. Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
know we're throwing it back.
Right.
I love this. I love this. I appreciate the time that you have spent here with me, with us, just giving us some education about insurance and how we can all think about this in a different way, in a better way, how we can open our minds to this as an important investment we can make, ways we can get information. Now, can anyone contact you even though they're not in your region to ask you questions? How do you feel about that?
That's okay. I can always give general information, but I cannot give you a quote if I'm not licensed there. So, if you want to know like what is a deductible, I can give you the definition of a deductible. Right? But now if you want a quote, I will need to get licensed so we can talk in more detail.
Okay. Okay. Well, definitely at least, please do before we go. You provide complimentary financial protection reviews. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is a confidential questionnaire. It's nothing too personal, but it will ask you things that will make you realize where you might not be financially protected. Like if you have a mortgage, is your mortgage protected if you were to pass away? Or if this is your income, is your income protected in case of a critical illness, for example? It's just little questions like that that help us determine where we can help them fill in those gaps of financial protection.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, friends, please tell us once more what your website is.
Sure, my website is malmins.com, malmins.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Lorena. Lorena?
You got it.
I need to say it right because I don't, Lorena, that I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you for sharing your website. Thank you for sharing your information. Thank you for speaking so soothly and awesomely. you do have an excellent voice for this. I feel so relaxed. I'm like,
I will
yes.
say my one story about that. I had a client once. Well, she's still my client. But one day she was like, you can give me the worst news, but I'll be like, oh, okay, so at least that's good. It's topics that people don't really like discussing, at least, yeah, I hope that makes it easier too.
It really does. You have a very soothing, comfortable, confident, assured presence about yourself that I think is very important when navigating insurance. I'm happy that you spoke with us today and shared some information. It was really, really good. So thank you for that. And, if you're a solopreneur, if you are a small business and you want some more information, and especially if you are in the regions and can actually do business with Lorena and Malmins, please do reach out to her. You're going to have in the show notes all the ways to do that easily. We've said it a few times here, so rest assured you'll be able to do that easily. If you want to get in contact with me, if you're a small business owner or a solopreneur and you want to navigate just the mindsets around what's stopping you in your small business, ways to get better at doing the business that you're doing so that you are not working 24 hours a day and not living your life, then you want to contact me. I'm Teemaree, your best life coach, and I can help you with that. And you'll find that information as well in the show notes, teemaree.com or bestlifecoaching.online. So definitely subscribe to our show here and reach out to both of us and just say hi. Don't be rude. We spent time with you. We like to have fun here, girl. That's what we're all about. So thank you for being with us. And we'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe and visit teemaree.com/free for more goodness. Woo!